Hello, my name is Nia Johnson. I am in the living room of Oria School on Sunday, April 29th at 8 o'clock p.m. I will be interviewing her on the topic of integration and segregation, getting her opinion and personal experience during that time. Good evening, Mrs. Sewell.
Good evening, Nia Johnson. How are you today?
Good, and yourself?
Fine.
How do you view segregation?
It was very unfair to black people.
How do you view integration?
Well, it was supposed to be an opportunity to be fair to everyone, but it still hasn't been that fair. It has been an improvement, but there still is some problems with the segregation.
Why do you think the white people felt superior to black people?
Well, I think it's because that we were slaves years ago, and they were always taught to that they were above us. So as time went on, their parents, the generations and generations, just felt like they were superior to us because that's the way they were taught to be superior to us before the laws were changed.
Did you enjoy going to all black schools, or did you wish to go to school with white people?
Well, I went to black schools at one time, and then when later on I moved to a different part of town, then we went to school with the white people. So it was like an adjustment because you was used to just your black friends, and then you had to get adjusted to try to be friends with the white people. So it was a little difficult at first.
And how did the white people react to blacks coming to their schools?
They definitely didn't like it, and the teachers didn't like it, so we had a hard time in school because they didn't want new people coming in and taking over and stuff like that, and they had to share, and they didn't want to share with us.
Do you take bad criticism?
Criticism, it's just that they still was unfair. You could see all the unfairness that was going on, but you couldn't do too much. You just had to go along with the situation because that's just the way it was back then.
How was life after laws for integration was laid down?
It got a little better, but people's human behavior still had to be retaught. So children had to grow up, and their parents had to change their mindset so that the next generation's mindsets would be different. So it was an adjustment for everybody, but they were trying to get along, but you could see there still was animosity there.
What motivated you to be involved in marches and protests against segregation?
Because I joined an organization when I was around 16 years old that wanted to get more black people registered to vote. So we used to go out and knock on people's doors to get them to register to vote. And you could see the tension and everything that the black people were going through. So we did have the right to vote. So I thought the marches and getting more people to vote, that we could make some changes, some real changes for black people.
Do you think integration was for the best or worse?
It was for the best, but we're still trying to get it right. It's still not right. We have a black president now, and I can still see some of the segregation still involved, but it's an improvement from the 1960s, but we still have a long way to go.
If you could, would you have changed anything from that time?
Well, I really couldn't change nothing. But I'm glad they did implement integration because we'll be worse off than what we are today.
Do you think blacks have benefited from integration?
Oh, yes. We wouldn't have a black president today if we never had integration. We have come a long way. We have a long way to go, but we have come a mighty, mighty long way.
And is there anything you would like to add from this interview?
Just that we've come a long way, and hope that things will be better. And when you become an adult, even though we do have integration, there's still some people that still feel superior to black people. But we have to vote and do the things we have to do to change things. And I think things are changing. And I think when you become an adult, that it might be a little different.
Do you think segregation will ever completely end?
I hope so. But the way I see it today, it might not be in my time, maybe in yours, but hopefully it will change one day.
Thank you, Mrs. Sewell. This is all.
You're welcome, Ms. Johnson.